Okay. בספר, ספר. בוקר טוב לכולם. היי, י' שבט. Mm, יאללה, let's begin. Live and just came back from the oil. It was good. A lot of people there. It was full, but there was no line. It was very nice. Good. Okay. So we're doing this Maimer and Bashala. We really should do Basiligani today, but whatever. We'll do Torah and then Basiligani. No Basiligani? Familiar, but the Maimer of Yud Shvat is Basiligani. So let's go. So we noticed that when you go to Babel, the Shekhinah goes with you. And what that means is, that there's a godly spark inside you, and wherever you go, the godly spark follows you. And what happens is, Hashem makes it that you put on the garments of Yaakov, puts on the garments of Esau, and in the process, he literally is enveloped by Esau, right? And you go down, and the goal is to accrue and to attract sparks and to make lokus in this world. So Torah is enclosed in Gashmias, and what do? You enter into the Gashmias and you put your godly spark inside them. So that's what it means. When you come to the world, you do tshuva, and tshuva, it says in Yisrael osin tshuva, in Yisrael osin tshuva nigalim. So the idea is you walk into the klippa overrides you, you come out of it, and you come out with flying colors, hopefully. You come out, with joy and with simcha and gladness of heart. And as you push away the sitra achra, that's how you reveal Hashem in the world. Makes life very, very worthwhile. You have the idea. The idea is you're on a mission to change the world and to bring Elokus into the world. That's the whole part. So every time you push away the sitra achra, you're bringing Hashem into the world. If you give tzedakah from money that's not stolen and the real deal, you're bringing Hashem into the world. Every single thing you're doing, you're bringing Hashem into the world. That's what it means. Vayoram Karen Lamwe, that the Jew has the principle of Hashem, and he's able to reveal God in the world. So Ata B'Chaton Mikolo Amim is a specific thing. Not that you chose us from all the nations. What does it mean? What do I care if you chose us from all the nations? Why is that of any benefit to me? Ata B'Chaton Mikolo Amim. Okay. Thank you, Hashem. מה זה משנה? מה זה מכל העמים? So the answer is, you placed us among the nations, and you elevated us, and you chose us from within the nations. See what that means? What's the difference? It means that Hashem wants you to walk into Gashmias, into the nations, into the space of the nations, and he wants to bring godliness to this. Think about it. Without this, what's the purpose of it all? What's the point? What are you gaining by putting me through this whole life? And the answer to that is the spark of godliness inside me. You carry the Hashem inside you. And so when you walk into that space, you're bringing Elokus to wherever you bring. We're taking. Why taking? Spark. Well, you're unraveling the spark. So when you go into wherever you go live, whatever you go do, you're bringing Hashem into that space, and you're transforming the world. Tata v'chatan mikol ha'amim is the same idea as Vatalbeshet Yaakov with Bigdei Esav. This is what it means. B'makom shebalit shumo imdim tzadikim where men yuchad olam, where Baal Tshuva stand, tzaddik can't stand.
Why? What is that? Why is that?
Because Tzaddik Gamur means he didn't go through he was holy. When you enter the world and you go through all the challenges that
He's still uncovering. He's still
what?
He's still uncovering, and he's still the same.
Tzaddik's a very holy guy. He does holy things. That's great thing. But about tshuva means that you're walking into the tension, and you're walking into that space and revealing Hashem over there. Which is why he says in the Beis Hamikdash they never daven for a long time. So you would say they never daven for a long time means what? Means l'malyuta or l'greisa. He's saying l'greisa. Because if you don't daven for a long time, it means that you don't have the Yetzer Hara is not attacking you so much. So when the Yetzer Hara attacks you, it means you got to reveal God in the place of the Yetzer Hara.
What, your mind starts to drift and stuff like that's what.
What?
What do you mean the Yetzer Hara is not attacking you? Because it's only a short time, then you're already moving on while you're davening. That's what it's saying.
I'm saying like this. Imagine the difference between a guy who's living in Mea Shearim and doesn't know what's flying in the news, has no clue, has such a davening. What?
Live in his bubble.
Live in a bubble. Now imagine that guy who lived in a bubble theoretically wouldn't have a Yetzer Hara. Now what? Right? Now imagine go further, because nobody lives in this world without in a bubble. You can't really live in a bubble. Imagine the guy didn't need money, for whatever reason. Someone supporting him, no money. Right? Imagine he doesn't even need food and drink. That's called an angel. So it would be wonderful. And you have no taivas and no jealousies and no issues and no nothing going on. But what's the problem? You're not engaging with Olamazeh. So what? My yesh, if I didn't engage with Olamazeh. Right? So the answer is that you're supposed to reveal Hashem in this world. Yeah? The goal is to be Megale Elokus in the world. How do you reveal Elokus? By engaging the world. So when you eat and drink and you reflect and you become part of Gashmias, you're transforming the Gashmias. Yeah, that makes it meaningful. It makes my struggle meaningful.
So means they're just not in those spaces. Correct. Not that they're not.
Correct. Why is the struggle worthwhile? If you ever wonder, like, why? See what he just said over here. Who's greater, the people in the Beis Hamikdash or us? You would think the Beis Hamikdash the whole time. Me, what am I? I'm just a nothing. I was telling you, no. The Beis Hamikdash doesn't have nearly as much power as you do. Why? Because the Beis Hamikdash was just a bunch of holy people doing holy things and seeing God revealed. So that's very nice, right? But when you go through the struggle, you actually drawing Hashem down to a place where he wasn't present before. More precious. Right? Okay. So I want to go from 122. We finished this piece already. I want to go do it again. Top of the page. Come over, Mashal, do it quickly. How does a fruit grow? The seed, has to mamish decay into the ground, and then it can sprout forth a new fruit. It's not possible to sprout forth brand new light and joy in Hashem unless you have lev nishbar ruach nishboro min ruach hasitra achra agasa bekirben. You have to break the spirit of Sitra Achra, which is coarse inside you. The Sitra Achra should be destroyed completely. So what does that mean? Think. Right? I think what it means is when you live, suddenly you have these brilliant ideas and grandiose plans and this and that. And as you go through life, right, what happens is sometimes you get smacked up by life. And when you get smacked up, what's getting smacked up is not you, it's your clipper. It's, you're decaying. Like you lose touch. Oh man, nothing good, whatever. All that. It's not. You're losing touch with your external self, and you're discovering your neshama. So you're not going down, you're going up. Right? There's actually a going up in that process. Why? Because he's flipping everything over completely. It's when the seed decays, what the seed doing is catalyzing the ground to give you a new fruit. So when a yid's struggling in life, it just means you need God more. and you're bringing Hashem into the space, and you need to look at yourself in that sense. It's very hard. And what it means is, again, V'yoshev el Hashem v'rachameu. We discussed this yesterday, right? It's a super powerful line. This will change your whole Yom Kippur davening if you get this word, right? Again, see what it means? V'yashav el Hashem, return to Hashem, v'rachamehu. What's v'rachamehu? So who? It would seem to mean that God, of course it means God has compassion over you. It can't mean the opposite, that you have compassion of God. You don't mean that, right? The Alter is saying, yes, it does. We're on line 122, line 5 of the title. We went back. You focus as follows. I have inside me a godly spark. This godly spark fell into the clip.
And Neshama is a godly spark. That's what we're calling it.
What?
Neshama is a godly spark. What are we calling it?
Yes, the neshama is a godly spark. So the neshama could be fully revealed, and it also could be concealed. And there's a godly spark inside there, and that's about having rachmanas on the godly spark.
That godly spark is, I know you say it's mimal, but like we're calling it God. Like that's what
I was just listening now to a podcast. This guy's brilliant, actually.
Because even nice. We can't understand.
The guy gave a podcast. He's talking about his letter to the Rebbe and the context when they happen, what goes on. So he had this one letter. I don't know where I go to find out the story. But it's a long thing. The Rebbe was talking to a guy. He came to him and he wanted to convert to Jews for Jay. So he's going to Florida to become a priest for Jews for Jay. And the Rebbe was convincing him in the letter and then the Yechidus, whatever, an hour and a quarter Yechidus, 1950s, to stay by me, Rebbe. And the guy stays and he agrees, fine. 2 months later, he writes to the Rebbe that his heart wants Yoshke. And he's too desperate for Yoshke, and he understands it's very nice over here, but he doesn't have a choice, he has to go. So that Shabbos is a Farbrengen. Or that whatever, they're not Shabbos, there's a Farbrengen right there. And in the Farbrengen, he was not present. They bring in the thing, he wasn't present. And the Rebbe started telling a story. The story was of a guy in the times of Richard Magid who had a what's it called? A strong desire, strong taiva to go out of the faith. And the Richard Magid, and he went to some cloister, went to church and went down the faith. And the Richard Magid said the thing, Nefesh ki sechta, he said, a soul that sins. So he said, Nefesh ki sechta, how do you read the pasuk? Nefesh ki sechta, a soul, how does a soul sin? A soul can't transgress. Nefesh ki sechta doesn't make sense. So he says, Tava doesn't make sense. And he kept on saying it again and again and again. And he said it with tremendous force. And as he did, the wind came blowing. And this guy, the guy from the church ever came in and landed in Mizrach the Tshuva.
Said it Friday night. Said the story Friday night a couple of months ago.
Correct. I did. Now there's this other sequel where the Rebbe said the story. I didn't know the part. When the Rebbe said the story, the guy wasn't present. As the Rebbe sang and the wind came and blew, the guy walks into 770, into the Farbrengen. So the guy walked in and the Rebbe's like focusing on and then when his neshama is revealed, I guess they don't know the end of the story, but you assume they.
But 1 second, so we have to think about neshama as not. I mean, even in it's not us. We're not it. It's like it's different. It's different.
I have a neshama. I have a piece of me. You can see the neshama. You'll see the neshama sometimes. You'll see sometimes you're upset at someone, you're angry, or you're despondent, you're depressed about life, you don't know what's going on. And you'll see a piece of you, a part of you, whatever you want to call it, suddenly comes up and surfaces and says, no, we can do it.
So is it
like a strong
us? You say anything that's a part?
I'm saying he wants to daven, he wants to learn, he wants to do bitachon in Hashem. It's hard to sit
How
and
you
daven.
think of it? It's us, not us.
In Tanya, chapter 1 and 2, he lays down that there's a nefesh elikis and nefesh bamis, and there's an adjudicator in between them. And you are the adjudicator deciding who goes where. But it's two of you there, and you'll see it. Sometimes you get strong, I can do anything. Sometimes you feel weak. There's like both of them together. They're literally fighting a mortal battle in between them. And that's an Efshirikis, Nefshabamis. So what we're saying is, V'Rachameyu means have Rachmanis, have compassion for your godly spark. To Hashem is Baruch, you gave me a godly spark, and I'm going to have compassion for it. What does that mean? It means I'm gonna go learn something. Why? So that my godly spark should be revealed. This is the idea. If a guy does an Aveira, so then you think to yourself, I did an Aveira, I should feel guilty. I should get depressed. No, go have an extra more than you ever did. Because you have a godly spark. The idea is that tefillah b'chavona. Tikkun chatzais means to daven. You have to have a time when you daven, you think about your Koved Rosh means with a heavy head. He's saying about the Koved of the Rosh. Think about the Shekhinah. Think about Hashem inside you. You got to meditate, and there's Hashem, and Hashem is in Golos. You have to think about this. Chassidim in the Gemara's times were able to do it for 1 hour before davening. They thought about Hashem, and they were good. You have to sit down and actually arouse a bitterness in your soul. And that's Tikkun Chatzais, and to think about what is the Shekhinah. If you don't think about the Shekhinah and Hashem and the Yerida to Golus, then you'll never get out of this. And then you get the light comes in the darkness. So now a Yid looks and he says, okay, it's dark, it's very dark over here. But if I daven, I can reveal the Lukus. This is what it means. So it's because you didn't serve Hashem b'simcha. Again, the frame over here is we are neshamas, and we are holy, holy beings, but we are placed underground. What's underground? Underground is the parnasa woes that you have. You're immersed in tzaras and in suffering and struggling and happiness and all the things you're immersed in. You're mamish like, if you notice it, you'll just see your head just stuck completely and utterly and totally in it. And every so often you have to daven for the Koved Rosh. It's Rahman is for Hashem. Hashem is inside you. And you say, Hashem, okay, let me go daven a bit. Let me go learn something. Let me go, do a mitzvah to give my soul a little bit of nurturing. So it says, because you didn't serve Hashem b'simcha, listen to this, the whole teichach, all the verses come about because you didn't serve Hashem b'simcha. Shehu oynish mida kedeged mida. Why is it not for simcha? What did we lose in Churban Beis Hamikdash? The answer is joy. We don't know how to be happy. Shekhinah was right there, and therefore we were happy. Through this, because this allows you to get to a joy. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining here that there's a joy that you get from being. Living with your soul brings you joy. And there's only one way to get to joy. You cannot get to true joy without it. And now, this is the point of the Maimon, which is the same point as the other Maimon over there before, that the question is not, the question is not how do you find that there's joyous things happening in your life. The question is how do you ignore whatever's happening in your life and be able to focus on the neshama and experience joy even though things are bad.
Not programmed like that. It's like we're programmed to. Yeah, what do you want to do? What do you do? Like
it's Western program, correct?
I don't even know if it's Western. Maybe it's the whole world. There's feelings.
It's modern day.
Modern?
Of course, it wasn't like this in the few hundred years ago. So it's 39.
People still not ran off emotions, but they had emotions.
We had taivas and you had issues all the time. But I'm saying this notion of what we have now is we don't know.
Now it's extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But there was always people. I'm sure people always got joy out of physical things, and they always got upset over physical things, and
they just didn't have much access to them, so it didn't control your life 24/7. Now it does.
Well, I probably did, just at a different level. You had to get food. You were happy when you did this. I
mean, yeah, I'm not saying Taivas was the issue. וזהו שאומרו רז"ל, רבי עקיבא. So Chazal say about Rabbi Akiva, here's the story. כשראה כרך של עכו, he saw the metropolis of the Goyim, Rome. Tochak, he started to laugh. So his friends were crying. And they said to him, why are you laughing? He says, why are you crying?
Why Sachak and not Sachak? What's that? It's interchangeable?
Yeah. They come off all the time. And he said, if this is what you get to those who transgress his will, how much more those to go with his will? Kodesh. Don't put out the name Kodesh. So he's going to Rome. I mean, he's seeing Rome in all its might and glory. He's, heartbroken by it. And what does he do? Jumping with joy. How does he do that?
A bunch of stories in the Akiva like this, no?
Rabbi Akiva, the Rebbe has the Shittos of Rabbi Akiva, that his whole life. Rabbi Akiva's Kula lived Rabbi Akiva. He was a Ger, and Ben Ger, and he was also a Baal Tshuva. 40 he started. And everything he did, and he managed to become Rabbi Akiva. Right? So the whole thing was, he never looked at the here and now. And in Gans Shas, you'll see his whole approach is all the time, look for what's deeper. So this Maimon is training us to do that. This Maimon is training us to, when you're, the whole Maimon, what's it about? When you're suffering, you're not suffering. You're catalyzing the koyach hatzemeach of the ground. You're decaying your own nefesh habamis to allow yourself to cede control towards a nefesh elikis. That's what's going on.
One more time, sorry. Don't know.
I'm suffering. When I'm suffering, what am I doing? I'm just getting rid of my animalistic being, so that I can allow the godly being to surface. And when the godly being surfaces, life is just in a state of flow and everything's awesome. And that's focusing on you and the shaman. And that's our mission in life, to be Megala than a shaman.
Rabbi, so, you keep saying suffering. I think there's a difference. There's a difference between struggling and suffering. You could struggle without suffering. It's the suffering is what you're making out of the struggle.
Okay.
I don't think there's a disconnect there. I think. Am I right?
Some Yosef in the dungeon was suffering.
What's suffering? Suffering is what you make of the struggle. You could struggle and you say, okay, I'm struggling with whatever I'm struggling with, but you make peace with that and then you don't suffer. If you struggle and you get down about it, that's when the suffering is.
No, but he's doing much more than making peace with it.
Yeah.
He's making
acceptance, whatever it means, peace, acceptance, allowance.
No, he's growing from it. He's looking at himself as being on a mission.
Right.
He's looking at it as, what do you mean? I get to conquer more.
Right.
The more,
so you don't suffer. If you're doing that avoided, and you're not suffering, then you're struggling and you're growing.
Right. The avoid is, I think tomorrow night.
Yeah.
The Yashav Hashem b'Yachamid, right? Return to Hashem, see Hashem and everything, and have Rachmanis for Hashem. You know what that means?
Right. Yeah.
So what's practically, what does that mean? Means, I think it's a meditation. It's a deep meditation. You wake up in the morning, you breathe, you go way down in the you notice the breath of life, and then you start to notice and you focus on every time the nefesh elikis is doing things. When you're breathing, you get excited over breathing. When you're in joy, joy is nefesh elikis. That putting on tefillin is nefesh elikis, and you get excited. Pay attention to what's going on.
People get a lot more excited when they go to a nice restaurant than they do putting a tefillin those times, or other.
Right, but after you go to a restaurant a bunch of times, it becomes completely boring. Right? So after you put on tefillin, yeah. I'm not denying this. After you put
No,
on
I'm
tefillin,
not. I'm not trying to argue. I'm trying to
remember, I'm just saying because that's much stronger. But what happens after you put on tefillin? Every time you put on tefillin, if you meditate,
focus. Right. If you
that
focus.
there's a lokus being revealed over here. That's Shab. That's a Yashav el Hashem. Return to Hashem, see Hashem and everything.
It's a lot about your mind space. Sometimes you're just like, hey, like you gotta go, and it's nothing. It's not nothing, but doesn't penetrate at all. Like,
But this is the key.
So doing all these things, saying Moda'ani in the morning, that's Virachamehu, that's what that is?
Are you awake?
Thinking
It's,
of God, that's Virachamehu?
It's koyved roish, right? It's noticing the head, noticing the neshama, and living from that inner space of the neshama.
Virachamehu. Just being focused on God, basically.
On God inside you.
Yeah.
really have to focus so much because if you don't focus, it's literally nothing. Nothing doesn't do anything to you.
Right.
Like nothing. It's just, and that's why people don't do it because it's just
Correct. You know, it just goes by you, over your head, nothing, gone has been gone. Yes. In Hanukkah. Really crazy. So, but Rabbi Akiva's laughing. And you see the words, why are you laughing? I mean, it's not funny. It's not funny. The Romans are successful, and we're suffering, and we're struggling. He says, what do you want me to do? Because of that, I have to focus on my neshama. And neshama needs joy. So it's like a guy saying, you did an Avera, and after you did an Avera, what do? You jump for joy. Why do you jump for joy? Because what am I supposed to do?
so you're not laughing or jumping at that situation that just happened. You're already moving on to a new situation.
I'm moving into megala, my nefesh elikis. My nefesh elikis needs joy. So I'm not joyous despite that. I'm joyous inside that.
You're not focusing on that. You're focusing now on you messed up. Let's say now you're moving to a new situation. Now you're focusing on something else.
No, inside this. What do you mean?
How? But that's not a.
Look, pirush. שהשפוע חייס ושפע אלמד זה לעכם שהם נקראים אויבר רצון יש אויבר על הרוצן. Why do they go and get life? Because they over רצון. Over רצון means they transgress Hashem's will. He's teaching the word beruflich. עובר על הרצון. עובר על הרצון. מבחינת למעלה מהרצון. Because it's true. The goyim, the Romans, or whatever, are getting above Hashem's ratzon. We need to follow Hashem's ratzon so we're going to come down. They don't.
What does that mean?
Because Hashem is unlimited. So they don't block the shefa. They just get, Hashem gives them automatically. If you're a tzaddik, you think you give Hashem anything when you're a tzaddik? No. You think you do anything against Hashem when you do it on Beirut? No. He's unlimited. He doesn't care about you. Hashem decided there should be a ratzon, a desire. But the ratzon is tzina, that becomes the channel. Tzino ratzon. Shu ma'avarit dalut hashefa v'chayis al kidei tzin tumish dal seder medayis al pi medayis al yizbarach. Hashem tells you, listen, if you follow these rules, you got to keep mitzvahs, taryag mitzvahs, keep Shabbos, keep kosher, keep ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. If you do that, you'll get your hashpah. And you say, but the Romans are getting hashpah regardless. They're doing everything wrong. Yeah, because they're not following the system. They're going above the system.
What does that mean above this? Well,
he's explaining. If you follow Darach Torah means if you follow my statute, you get the reward. The goyim are getting this sustenance from Hashem as he's above everything. So in other words, Hashem is unlimited and Hashem doesn't care. And the goyim are tapping into that energy. After him, they're way distant from Hashem.
it's like in a Jew tap into that.
So you could. If you do Averis, let me tell you, you probably get more money. It's like saying like this. If you decide to walk into a Ponzi scheme, right? And the guy selling you billions of dollars, will you make more money in a Ponzi scheme than you will in a regular situation?
To get out.
A resounding yes. What?
Get out in time.
If you get out in time, you make a resounding a lot of money. And you probably live for many, many years thinking that you're totally successful. And you'll have your private jet, and you'll have your gazillions of dollars, and you'll be awesome. What's the problem?
Get arrested at some point there.
Then at some point, there is no money there. There's nothing there. So the goyim are going to, it's much stronger, much more powerful. The Jew says, I want to get my money the normal channel. I want to get the real channel. Why? Are they getting much more? Because if that's what Oiber Ritzon gets, the Oyser Ritzon get much more in the long run. Osei Retzono does not mean doing the will of Hashem. Listen to this. You see the difference? Look at this. Translate Osei Retzono. Look how the Alter is flipping it over. What do you think Osei Retzono means without this?
The Hashem's will.
You're doing Hashem's will. So Hashem's, and I'm doing what He wants, right?
Right.
So I'm not really important here. I'm just doing Hashem's will. Alter Rebbe is saying Osei Retzono means making Hashem's will. It means Hashem's will is abstract. Hashem has a great idea.
Creating it.
What?
Creating it.
It needs you to go do the mitzvah and to live life like a yid. So you're not doing the will of Hashem. You're literally making Hashem, you're fashioning Hashem into the physical world. And that's, Hashem's vulnerable, so to speak, to us. Hashem believes, well, yes, that's the problem. So Hashem made you, gave you a neshama and said, I'm not doing it for you, you do it. You need to live your life the way you'd live his life. And when you do, tap into your neshama and go through your struggles. And your mom is revealing Hashem in the world. So he says, Shareheim El Yoinim Ukredim Yoiselim Karim Sharsham, you're much closer to Hashem. El Machar Shanim Shochim Upon his Bach, Baderch is Pash, Beseda Baderch, Baderch Shalom, Yep Shadi Sip of his Galus Aero Canal. So the problem is, you can't have today a real full joy in this work because, God. When the sparks rise, when we finish this work and we change the course of history, so the light which was there and fell down is also revealed. So a Jew says to Hashem, he says, I don't want to suffer, Hashem. Why am I suffering? And of course we don't want to suffer. Hashem shouldn't make anyone struggle at all. Struggle or suffer. So if you look back at what you're doing with the suffering, what are you accomplishing? It means you're bringing Hashem you're creating the will of Hashem in an impossible situation. You're literally bringing Hashem to a place where He couldn't be there without you. That's awesome. If you pay attention to that, you'll jump for joy. So when you have a challenge, you'll be looking at it and saying like, wow, Hashem's energy gets to be revealed down here through me. Thank you, Hashem, for the struggle. That's the Yosef syndrome, right? He goes back to the pit. Not in order to take revenge, not in order to feel sorry for himself, not in order to feel trauma, to say to himself, wow, this trauma led me to connect, to find Hashem in a space I couldn't have done it without. It's incredible. So he realizes how everything makes me. Right? And that's Oisei Ritzova, you make the will of Hashem. Now this all is the first pasuk in our parasha. What does the pasuk say? And it's a problem because Paroi sent the people away. Really? Paroi was forced to do it. He had no choice. I mean, it's true. He was the one who said it, but it's true. But Paroi sent them away. It was against his will. So Alter Rebbe is saying, no, you got to stop what's going on. Paroi is indeed the one who does it. Right? Paroi says, I don't know God. So Paroi denies Hashem. What's Paroi? Paroi is the Oiber saying, those transgress the will of Hashem. Paroi is creating a beautiful fruit. He's making the fruits of the people. Why? See, Paroi thinks that he's the Hitler Machshman. He thinks he's persecuting the people. That's what he thinks he's doing. And what's he really doing? Totally not that. 1 second. Let's take a quick break for possibly going to explain this. Hold on. Go yeah. Today's Yud Shvat, so just a little word from the Maimer of Basi Lagani. That's the Maimer that Rebbe Rayatz put out on the day of his Istalkos. And the idea he explains over there, so today's the yard site, and the day the Rebbe became Rebbe. So the idea he explains is that the Eibishter said to build the Beis HaMikdash and to build the Mishkan. And in the Mishkan, the primary avodah in the Mishkan was the avodah of Korbanos. So you go and put Korbanos. What is Korbanos? Korbanos is taking an animal and offering it to Hashem. So you take the animal on the Mizbeach, and you put the animal on the Mizbeach, and you offer it to Hashem. So what does that mean? Pshat is that there's an animal inside of every one of us. Because the Pasuk says, Vasuli Mikdash, Shachanti Betocham. Soich kol echad ve'echad. Every Jew has to be a Mishkan for Hashem. So what you're doing is taking your own animal and offering your animal to Hashem. How do you do this in real time, in real life? It means you have a lot of animalistic feelings and experiences and ideas, and every time you send the animal and you offer it to Hashem. So on a very basic level, when someone comes over to you and says, we want to give tzedakah, and you say no, and you don't want to, but then you write the check anyway, you've just defeated the Sitra Achra. There's an animal, you offer the animal to Hashem. Right? You're about to speak Lashon Hara and you're so excited to speak Lashon Hara. It's such a taibet, like you schmuck a piece of story you can share with it. And you decide not to do it, right? So now what are you doing? You see there's an animal there. Why does Hashem make difficulties? Because you got to have animals brought to Hashem. So this avodah in the Mishkan is really the avodah today. And the Zohar says, Katiskafya Sitra Achra, Istalek Yekor Dekuchabricha B'chul Almin. When you push against Sitra Achra, that's the other side, you reveal Hashem in all the world. So what does it mean? That every push that you push against Sitra Achra. So every time you feel in life something that blocks you, right? Whether it's from doing more good or from not doing something bad, every time you feel that is you know what to call it now. You say, I am a mikdash for Hashem. I'm a mikdash for Hashem. And this, how do you become holy? Through encountering the animals. So the animals are your friends, basically. You just got to take them and elevate them and bring them over to Hashem. This becomes the real mission in our generation, because there's never been as many animals around as nowadays. So many taivas, you encounter 4,000 of them a minute. And every time you fight them, you're warding them off, you're bringing the Shekhinah down. This is the Avodah, the seventh generation. It's the Rebbe, the seventh generation of bringing Mashiach, of actually transforming the world and making it into a holy place. Can you get to the oil today? Get to the oil. I'm doing I just came in. I was just there. I was there at 5.
Not the show Bati Legani.
Bati Legani is I came to my garden. The Shekhinah says that I came to my garden, to the world of the garden. So it's exactly what we're learning in this Bible. It's exactly this Bible. The world's a garden, and in the garden there's seeds, and you put the seeds in the ground, you take them out come fruits. So there's fruits everywhere, and you just look around, you see these beautiful, stunning, amazing fruits. You were saying last night when the Rebbe became Rebbe, you know that part? Very nice. The Rebbe became Rebbe. It was 1951, and you would think, right? If you were doing an event on today. So you would sing Mishe Beirach, you were saying Kirmalei whatever. It wasn't 1,200 Jews killed. It was 6 million Jews killed. Everybody had someone dead. It was a disaster. There wasn't one mention of the Holocaust in the Farbrengen when the Rebbe became Rebbe. It was totally forward thinking.
He said rarely did he ever mention it. No,
nothing. The Rebbe was like, we're not Jews who we're not never again Jews. We're Jews who. What do you mean? We're bringing Mashiach. There's problems. I don't know what problems are. What do you say? Oh, no issues. Anyway, so this is the migrant is it was Paro who sent the people. Why are you telling me Paro sent the people? Because Paro is the king of your challenges. Paro is the king of your struggle, the master of keeping you locked up in prison. And Paro sends you out. What does that mean? That Paro wants to elevate the people. Because of the exile and the subjugation to them. They caused the godly spark to be elevated. They've fallen out there with a broken vessels. This is the Koach HaTzomeach. Yeshua is to bring about salvation of Israel. What a magnificent clip of the pasuk, right? Uparoi hikriv. You meant to say paro karav, lo karav, hikriv. He caused them to become closer to Hashem. So when you go through the struggle, that's bringing you close to Hashem. The whole Shiur, what is it? That all the problem got us close to Hashem. So now we have this beautiful explanation in the mind, right? What's the explanation? That we are seeds in the ground, and when a seed's on the ground, he thinks he's dead. He's not, and then he decays, and he thinks it's really bad. And he's not. What's happening is you just catalyzed in the ground because Hashem's presence is far more in Gashmis than anywhere else. And so when you encounter the Gashmis and you elevate, you get yourself far closer to Hashem. It's a murdic thing. Okay. So now we get to the little addendum of the mind. And Hashem did not want to lead them through the land of the Plishtim, even though from Israel, from Mitzrayim to Israel is a very close journey to go through Gaza, in the land of the Plishtim. Hashem said no. Now, what does that mean by Avodat Hashem? Plishtim lashon mavoya mefulash. Plishtim is an open pathway. So Plishtim means mefulash. מה זה מפולש? מפולש is moshav leitzim. למה moshav leitzim? Because if I'm talking to you and you're arguing with me, so then I'm saying one thing, you're arguing, so we're having an argument. Okay, makes sense, right? But if you just say to me, like if you mock me, you just say, you take what I just said and you just say it again in a mocking way. Oh, you're davening, you know, like you mock me. So what am I going to do with that mocking? You're just laughing at me. What should I do with it? Right? Nothing. You're not even arguing. It's an open. See the mefulash. No brains. I can't argue with you. It's just ridiculous. We have the power of Plishtim in holiness and the power of Plishtim in Klippa. What is Plishtim? The holy Plishtim is when a Jew says, I'm happy. And you say, what on earth are you happy for? Everything's terrible. I'm happy. I'm happy. Because the Jews never sad. You see that's the opposite of mockery? You knock him out, Rabbi Akiva. That's Rabbi Akiva's power. He's like, no, I'm in joy. I'm in a state of total joy. Lama? Lama lo. No thing there. Michal, you 5 minutes, come 5 minutes. Sorry. Plishtim should be klipa. I'm relating to Gamkin in a conversation. Plishtim in klipa. What is it? Ledaber masheli boch. Next column, page 122, column 2. Masheli boch hafez. It's a guy. He's not. He has no. There's no breaks on his. He talks whatever he wants to talk. Right. Just he speaks it out. And matzor. Right. Doesn't care. He's mocking you no matter what. V'sim chashel hoylelus. Lamers falseinu itonu. You see it. A guy jumps into an addiction. He jumps into joy for no reason. There's frivolous joy, frivolity. What are you doing? It's just klippa. I don't care. Right? That's one type. So there's two types of joy. There's a joy which is a holy joy and a joy which is a klippa joy. Yeah? ולכן נקרא קליפה, מה זה קליפה? כמו שהקליפה מכסה ומסתרת על הפרי שנראית כמו שעיקר הפרי. Just like the klipa is a shell that covers over the peel, that covers over the fruit. When a person gets to a simcha of mockery, it covers over and conceals the light of God, Shabor, which is inside it. To be an entity on its own and separate from Hashem. It's a total opposite of spirituality. Complete opposite of spirituality. What's spirituality? To rejoice with Hashem, with a bittul b'metzias to Hashem. So, there's one type of joy which is, like it says about Rava, the Gemara in Shabbos. Rava was sitting and learning, and
make a joke. No, like make a joke.
That's also something else. No one. He put his finger got stuck in the chair, and he was gushing blood, and he didn't notice it. He was just learning. Didn't notice what's going on. So the Turkey testing him. He says, I'm a pzisa, you hasty nation. You said, Nasa Benishma. You don't even know what you're doing. You can't survive it. You're going to die. And he says, Tumas Shorim Tanchem, right? That Tumas Yeshorim Tanchem. And the simplicity of the righteous people guides them. In other words, I don't care. It's a total mysterious nefesh that Jews have. We don't care. We just go forward, right? So the plishtim in Klippa is, I don't care. I'm going to, I'm going to get to my addiction. I'm going to go, enjoy for no reason. Simcha of Kedusha is the opposite plishtim of Kedusha. Upirush Apostle, the Apostle is saying like this. What does it mean? It is not the path of Hashem. Lavo miyad libchinas hasimcha b'Hashem. I love this idea. It's so important in the way of Hashem. It is not the path of Hashem to get to quick joy.
Oh.
Like going to a kumzitz. You go to a kumzitz, boom, you get excited. Lama? Ki koroivu, because it's close, lipol mizeh, to fall from this. Ki pen birois hamilchama, because lest you see war. He's reading the passage, right?
Like inspiration. Once
Exactly.
you get inspired, you lose
Correct. If you learn Tanya or you learn Torah, or it's not inspiring. It's a long. You got to keep on learning it, and you go on. If you learn some because you get like on a high bomb, and you need it, by the way, sometimes. But he says, when a Yid goes down into Golos and Paris sends him out, God says you can't go to the land of the preaching. Why Kikaribu? Because it's too close. If you get excited, if you get in a holy space too quickly, easy come, easy go. That's the problem. Because when you see a war, in other words, you're suddenly going to struggle in life. You're going to go right back to Mitzrayim. And I want to build a resilient Jew. It's not about being joyous. It doesn't say to be joyous. What does that mean?
Serve.
To work the simcha, to serve, to do hard work of getting to simcha. So if your simcha just comes to you because you listen to music, it's very cute. It's not real. Real simcha is hard work of a yid going through the struggles and jumping for joy. And now we're talking. That's about the simcha.
That's what the Rebbe, when you think to him, that's what you were saying yesterday. He didn't just say, oh, people asked him for help. Oh, okay, here.
Yeah.
He said you have to do it yourself.
The work. So the Eibusha sends the people on the roundabout way. These are the psukim in the beginning of the parasha, through the midbar Yamsuf. Yam is the world of Chochmah. Yam is the ocean. The ocean is the source of everything, the Chochmah. Yes, Yam HaChochmah. Suf, Yam Suf. Suf is the last of the levels. Stop. So what does that mean? So Yam is the Torah Shebechsav, Suf is Torah Shebal Peh. It means that you're actually able to learn and fulfill the mitzvahs of Hashem. What is Torah? It's founded on the mitzvahs. How do you get to know Hashem's will? By having Torah Shebechsav, Torah Shebal Peh, and learning it and working it, and then doing the mitzvah, and learning the halacha, and then activating it in life. You want to get to joy? There's only one place for joy. It's not through kumzitzim. It's through putting on tefillin. Because that's asher, joy. So it's a meditation. What is tefillin? Yes, meditate on how difficult everything else is. And I get to do the mitzvah. And that work it's a meditational joy. So the Eibusha says you can't go through the plishtim way, the quick route. What's the portal to gate to Hashem? The gate to rise is avodah. You want to get the true joy, you got to go through Gira first. Yeah?
Yeah.
Ava and Yira together.
I mean, you're in Chochem.
If somebody wants to do all Malchus Shamayim, Yifne, Maze Yifne, you know what's Yifne?
Turn.
Litpanot.
And
Face. To turn the face.
And I don't know.
It means go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Before you daven, you have to go to the bathroom, as they state. That's halacha.
Oh, of course.
You have to make sure that you're clean.
Yeah.
And then you wash hands, and then you put on tzitzis and fill in Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe is in a taich, the Hasidic taich of this. Pirusha mitchila.
All your garbage.
Yifne, exactly. Before you start, turn. and gets rid of all the
said this before.
let's say get rid of all the tzoya. What's the tzoya? What's the feces? You sit down and you meditate and you say, okay, I'm struggling. I'm feeling boom, boom, boom. And b'shalach paroi, the struggle, send me away. Then you get excited. You say, it's amazing. I get to do the talus of mitzvah. I get to put on the talus. So when you send I'm placing a king over me. I'm drawing the malchus of Hashem onto me. Be priests to the talus by spreading the talus over me. What are all the mitzvahs? All the mitzvahs to bring a life and a chayes of the malchus of Hashem on you. So too with learning Torah, because the Mishnah is the queen. In the right, I place my words in your mouth. So what happens is when you want to bring Hashem onto you, a simple way. It's not through learning Torah. You learn Torah. Hashem's word is speaking through you. So it's a yid saying, I want to be happy again. I find the joy. I work through the hard feelings. I find the joy. Then I'm going to daven, meditate on how good mitzvahs are, and then I'm going to learn Torah. This is the hard work. The easy way. Hashem says, don't go through the land of the Plishtim. Instead of going through the land of the Plishtim, the quick route. He says, Derech Haruko Tzorah.
Long way.
The long, short way. So through the Midbar Yam Suf, they love it. You want to get to Yam Suf, Mazi Yam Suf, the Chochmah, and the end of the Kabbalah Salmach. So you got to turn away from the desert. You got to turn away. We're slow turning. To be bitter over all the various you've done. Even if you did tshuva for all your various. You think about all the things you've done, the darkness you were walking into and the vanity you were in. So it's a Jew meditating on the contrast and how I'm with Hashem. If you accept the yoke of Torah and you go into Hashem, I'm throwing myself at you. I'm working through the negative feelings, going into the positive, bringing my mitzvahs and Torah. Then Hashem will give you that you're not going to be anymore enslaved to the nefesh habamis. You'll get to true bittul and true simcha. Hashem will give you to the land of Canaan. The land of Plishtim is a happy land, but it's not. It's an unhappy land. The land of Canaan, where you subjugated Machnia, that's the land. So it's a long process on how to get there. This is perfect. The boss did the guy for you, Shabbat. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Shkoyach, everybody.
Oh, wow. My man, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Wow.
Okay, thank you, Dr.